work there but wasn't on duty that day, but that I would have to come back and meet her. So the next Sunday, I did. And I recognized her because he showed me a couple pictures of her that he had in his phone. And I was impressed enough that I kept going back to the place periodically, like, you know, a couple times a week. And one day, you know, I hadn't been going in there all that long, you know, a month or so, and one day this lady is tending bar. She's talking to one of the regulars about how the family dog had been hit by a car right out in the street in front of their mobile home with her and all 4 of her children watching this. And it was terrible, except the good news was the dog had survived. However, she was telling this guy that the dog really now only had use of 3 legs. But he was getting around okay. Wasn't slowing him down one bit. And I'm sitting at the bar listening to this, and in my head I'm thinking, single mom, 4 kids, mobile home, 3-legged dog. This is a country song waiting to happen. And no sooner had I formulated that thought in my head than she turned from the guy she was talking to, looked at me and said, holy shit, I'm a single mom living in a trailer with a 3-legged dog. I'm like a country song waiting to happen. And I said to myself, and you can read thought balloons over your customers' heads. And I was going to say that to her, but I figured, what the fuck, since I was thinking it, she already knew. So, and she was wearing a shirt that she just happens to be wearing right now. So I considered it a sacred obligation on my part. It became a mission to write this song. And by the time I left the bar that day, I was already singing the first verse, you know, going, this shit writes itself, right? And after a couple of weeks, I realized that it didn't necessarily write itself. I was going to have to put some effort into it at some point. And this is the song about Miss Sheila right here. Although I have changed the spelling of that in order to avoid being sued. I call her Miss American Honey, only I spell Miss M-I-Z, and I took the A off of the front of American and put an apostrophe there, and I spelled honey, H-U-N-N-Y. Which means that if the song ever does get famous, a half a dozen lawyers from Disney are going to show up at my door telling me that they've got 100 pages of stuff that proves only Winnie the Pooh is allowed to spell honey, H-U-N-N-Y.
Sorry.
But as Robin Williams once said, joke them if they can't take a fuck. I'm going to sing the song anyway. This is called Miss American Honey. Miss American Honey, she works hard at her job. She lives in a trailer with a 3-legged dog. Go get one, go. 4 lovely children. Yeah, it's easy to see. Miss American Honey can't put the sweet in your tea. She just sticks her finger in there. Miss American Honey likes to show off her ink cupcakes. Shake her tail feather while she fixes your drink. She puts all kinds of sexy and sass in her style. The Miss American Honey, she'll melt your eyes with her smile. She'll pour you gratitude, served up with attitude, make you feel just like a star. But don't ever cross her or dare try to boss her. She'll sure you know that you are not all that Miss American honey. Got a song on her lips, always mischief in mind, more often than not, and a thong on her hips, 5 days out of 7. She's totally committed to getting things done. Miss American honey, she likes to have her some fun, or so I've heard. She'll pour you gratitude, serve up with attitude, make you feel just like a star. But don't ever cross her, or dare try to boss her, so make sure you know that you are not all that Miss American honey. She works hard at a job, goes home to that trailer, her little 3-legged dog, and then both of the children. No, it's easy to see the Miss American honey. Oh, mama, she'll put the sweet in your tea. The Miss American honey, she was so sweet to me. There you go, Steve.